today's video, I would like to introduce a very nice problem of Canadian Mathematical Olympiad edition 1969, question number 7. Here is the following setup. Prove that there are no integers a, b, and c satisfying this equation. A squared plus b squared equals a times is multiplied by c plus number 6. Okay? So in the other word, we are going to prove there is no solution for this equation. Okay? So I'm going to solve this equation by using two ways. So I would be recommend to give that try prior into the solution. Go ahead, pause this video when we come back to the solution. Okay? Now let's jump into the solution. So for the first method, without loss of generality, assume 0 inferior equal to 0 and a. In fact, we must do two cases when we have a is inferior equal to b, and also when we have b is inferior equal to a. But by symmetry, we don't need to work on both cases, so it's enough to take only one case. So also, if you take a look again at the right hand side of this equation, so since the left hand side of this equation is positive, which means the right hand side of this equation must be positive as well. So which means c is always positive. So anyway, I'm working on only in this interval. So whatever happened on this interval, it could be happen on the negative numbers as well. Okay. So I'm going to break this one into two cases. When we have a equals b and when we have a strictly inferior than b. Let's take the first case. When we have a equals b. Okay. So I'm going to take this value of b and insert it into the original equation in terms of a. Okay. So we'll have 2 times a squared equals 8c plus c. Then I'm going to divide both sides by number 2. So I will have here a squared equals 4c plus number 3. Okay. So if you take a look at the right hand side of this equation, so this one is giving us the information about the parity of a. So a is an odd. Since we have a square is an odd, which means a is an odd. So this one is telling us a is an odd. So since a is an odd, I'm going to write it on this form. A equals to m plus number 1. Then I'm going to take the value of a and insert it into the... I'm going to take this value and insert it into this equation. So I will have a square, which is 2m plus number 1 a square equals 4c plus 3. Okay, I'm going to distribute this one. So I will have 4m squared plus 4m plus number 1 equals 4c plus number 3. Then I'm going to move over number 1 to the right. I will get here minus 1. So I will have 4c plus number 2. Then I'm going to divide both sides by number 2. I will get 2m squared plus 2m equals 2c plus number 1. So I'm going to take number 2 as a common factor, like this. So this term is an even. The left hand side of this equation is an even. But the right hand side of this equation is an odd, which is impossible. Which means a not equal to b. Which means a is strictly inferior than b. So this one is telling us a 0 is inferior equal to a, and a is strictly inferior than b, like this. Then I'm going to erase number 2 as a power on both sides. I will get a squared is inferior equal to a squared strictly inferior than b squared. Then I'm going to add a squared on both sides. So I will have a squared plus a squared, which is 2a squared is strictly inferior than a squared plus b squared. I already have a squared plus b squared equals to 8c plus c. Okay, 8c plus c. Then I'm going to take 8c to the left hand side of the inequality. I will have 2a squared minus 8 times c is strictly inferior than c. What's this one telling us? This term is telling us is going to take 6 possibilities. Okay, which means 2a squared minus 8c is going to take the following values: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So if this one is taking 0, which means both terms a and c are equal to 0. If both terms, if c equal to 0 and a equals to 0, which means b squared equal to 6, which means b squared is a perfect square, which is impossible, okay? Because we have b squared equals 6. So number 0 is going to roll out of this possibility. And also, if you take a look carefully, this equation is an even because we have number 2 as a common factor here. So which means the right hand side of this equation must be even as well. So which means number 1, which is odd, and number 3 and number 5 are going to be rolled out of this possibility again. So which means I will be left only with 2 cases, 2 and 4. Then I'm going to start with number 4 instead number 2 because this one is a little complicated. If I'm going to take 2a squared minus 8c as an even term equals 4, okay? Then I'm going to divide both sides by number 2. I will get a squared minus 4c equals 2, okay? Then I'm going to move over this 4c to the right. I will get a squared equals 4c plus number 2, like this, okay? This one is telling us a is an even because the right hand side of this equation is even, which means I'm going to write a on this form, 2n. Then I'm going to take this value of a and insert it into this equation. I will have 4n squared equals 4c plus number 2. Then I'm going to divide both sides by number 2. I will have 2n squared equals 2c plus number 1, which is impossible because this term is an odd, but this term is an even, which means the left hand side of this equation is an even and the right hand side of this equation is an odd, which is impossible. Which means now I have only one case left, so I will have this one equals to 2. Let's check that. So I will have 2a squared minus a times c equals number 2. Then I'm immediately going to divide by number 2 on both sides. So I will have here a squared minus 4c equals number 1, okay? Then I'm going to move over this 4c to the right, so I will have a squared equals 4c plus number 1, okay? This one is telling us a is an odd. I'm going to replace a squared with this value, which is 4c plus number 1 plus b squared equals 8 times c plus number 6, okay? So by moving over these two terms to the right, I will have some cancellation here. So I will have b squared equals 8c minus 4c, which is 4c. I get plus 6 minus 1, which is 5, plus 5. This one is telling us b squared, b is an odd and also a is an odd. So a is an odd and also b is an odd, okay, because it's written on the odd form, okay? Since a and b are odd, so I'm going to write them as a equals 2m plus number 1 and b is going to write as 2n plus number 1. Okay, I'm going to take both values and insert them into the original equation to see what's giving us, okay? So we'll have 2m plus number 1 quantity squared plus 2n plus number 1 quantity squared equals 8c plus number 6, okay? Then I'm going to distribute this expression. I will have 4m squared plus 4m plus number 1 plus 4n squared plus 4n plus number 1 equals 8c plus number 6, okay? So we'll have a lot of cancellation here. On the left hand side of this equation I have 1 plus 1, which is 2. On the right hand side of the equation I have 6, which means I'm going to cancel out this 1 and 1. I will leave it as number 4 on the right hand side of the equation, okay? Then I'm going to divide both sides by number 4. I will get m squared plus m plus n squared plus n equals 2c plus number 1. In addition, then I'm going to take each of these two terms. First term, I'm going to take m as a multiplier, and the two second terms, I'm going to take n as a common multiplier. So which means this one is going to write as m is multiplied by m plus number 1. For the second term, I'm going to write this one as n is multiplied by n plus number 1. Okay? The whole thing equals to c plus number 1. Okay? This term is an even. And also this one is an even. Why this one is an even? Because they are consecutive integers. Which means if one of these was odd, which means the next one must be even. Inverse, if m plus 1 is an odd, that means the other one is an even. Okay? The same thing with n term. If this one is an odd, that means n plus 1 is an even. If n is an even, which means n plus 1 is an odd. But we know this, we know the product is an even because the even is multiplied by odd is given as always even. Okay? So which means is a contradiction because the whole thing, that means the whole left hand side of this equation is an even. But the right hand side of this equation is an odd, which is also a contradiction. Okay? Which is impossible. Now we have proven all the cases. We have no solutions for this equation. Now let's move on to the second method. The second method will be very quicker method, but it's very nice. Okay? So for the second method, so I have these two terms, a squared plus b squared equals 8c plus number 6. Okay? This method we are going to use the congruence notion. Okay? So this one, I'm going to reduce this one to mod 8. So this one exactly is giving us a squared plus b squared is a congruent. This one is going to 0 because we are going to reduce it to mod 8. So we'll have 6 as a remainder, 6 mod 8. Okay? So I'm simply going through the quicker chart. Let's take the following values. We have n and n squared. We have the following values 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, like this. Okay? So I'm going to reduce this one to mod 8. So for the value n equals to 0, given as 0. For number 1 is 1. For number 2 is 4. For number 3 is 9. 9 is 1 more 8, which is 1. For 4 square is 16, is 0. 520, which is 5 square, which is 25. 25 is 1 more, 24. 6 is 36. 36 is 4 number more than 32. So we have number 4 as a remainder. So the first chunk you have 0, 1, 4. The second chunk you have 1, 0, 1, 4. That means you have only 0, 1. That means you have 0, 1, and 4 are only perfect square mod 8. Okay? But we are not looking for the perfect square. We are looking for the sum of two perfect squares. Okay? We need to sum two numbers to give us 6. If he's given us 6, which means we have a solution here. But if the sum of these two numbers doesn't give us 6, which means we don't have a solution for this equation. So 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 4 is 5, so which means we don't have number 6 here. Here is an absence of number 6, which means there is no solutions. Okay? No solution. We're done. Okay? So I have ended with this video. In next video, I'm going to do another Canadian mathematical Olympiad. I would be recommend to watch it. If you have any question or suggest, just put it in the comment section below. Don't forget to support us with your like and subscribe. Thank you for watching and we'll see you next video. Bye.